me and saying it's so bright, I can't seem to figure out how to work with it. I'm not so good at the lighting thing yet. It's something I'm working on. Hey there, what's going on? Welcome back to Right Up Our Alley. I'm Rachel. If you do not know already, I have 3 kiddos who I homeschool, and they are about to be 9, 6, and 4. Today's video is all about what we are reading this year for read alouds, and that's kind of why I'm hanging out beside my couch today, because this is where we do our read alouds. We do it in the morning and we do it usually around lunchtime, maybe sometimes in the afternoon, but the majority of the time in the evening is reserved for my older son to be reading himself for dinner time and TV shows and that kind of thing. So I'm very intentional on doing read alouds more in the morning time and at lunchtime. One afternoon, when Fern was sitting on her stool, the oldest sheep walked into the barn and stopped to pay a call on Wilbur. "Hello," she said. The reason why we do read alouds is simply because the kids are getting older now, and sitting down reading a bedtime story is great, and we do that quite frequently. But I feel like reading something that is a little bit more involved, it requires a little bit more memory about what has been going on in the past chapters that they've been reading. It develops a little bit more of a plot, and so the kids can kind of follow along with it. And I think that's really important to always maybe read a grade level or 2 above if you can. Right now, with the ages that I have, it's kind of hard. Usually it spans really high for my younger son or really low for my oldest son. It's just kind of in the middle, and my daughter gets the cream of the crop for her because it works out really well. But, I try to do something that is really engaging for my older son, but also can keep my younger son entertained as well. But I do have to be careful in that my youngest son is about to be 4, and certain subjects aren't quite appropriate for him quite yet. Like, I would love to read The Legend of the Sleepy Hollow, and my daughter and my oldest son would love that story, but I feel like it's just not appropriate. I've decided to do something a little bit different this year with read alouds, and then I really wanted to make it more intentional and a part of our actual homeschooling adventure. And that is, I want a specific plan for them. So I sat down and kind of came up with some ideas. My first idea was to do books that got turned into movies. And I just thought that would be great. We have been talking about watching a lot of movies on TV, especially this summer with having Disney Plus. And I just thought, how perfect would that be to read a book and then watch a movie? I always love reading books first. I make it a mission to always read books before I go see a movie. And I really want my kids to kind of do the same thing, because usually you get a lot more detail in a book and you lose a little bit sometimes in the movies, and a lot of things get changed. So that is what we are doing this year. We are reading books that have been turned into movies. So we are reading the books, and then, of course, we are watching the movies. After we watch the movie, we are, of course, going to talk about and discuss what are the differences, what each kid did or didn't like about the book or the movie, which one did they prefer. I'm pretty sure they're going to always say the movie, but we'll see what happens. You never know. And I just feel like it's going to be a really cool thing to see what they have to say. I might even get my older son, after a couple of books and movies, to do an actual report on it. And if I do that, I'll definitely share with you maybe the questions and his responses or something like that. I thought of maybe actually doing a little Q&A with him or something. I thought that may be kind of fun. If you like the sound of that, please comment down below and let me know if you do like the sound of that. I thought I would also go ahead and mention my other ideas in case you thought you liked the idea of doing a sort of themed year on your read alouds. And my other ideas I want to go ahead and share with you are that I really want to do books that are abridged and unabridged. And I feel like my older son needs to be maybe a slight bit older for that to really understand the differences. And then also the other thing I thought would be really cool is do a whole year on poetry and just study the different poets and the different ways they write. I thought that would be really cool as well. So just to give you a couple of ideas I had going in my head, I thought in case that might pop up to you and be useful to you as well. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what our picks are for the year. I have to go ahead and say that not all of them are going to be actually physically in person that you will see. So I will just throw up a picture of the actual cover of the book, because some of them I have on the Kindle that I've already purchased before, or also some of them happen to be free through the library, through the Hoopla app. These are in no particular order, but I will go ahead and start with Charlotte's Web. It is the one we are currently reading right now. We went ahead and started it simply because I have bought all these books, and this was one of the first books that the kids saw, especially my daughter. And she said, "Whoa, that's a movie I saw on Netflix." So, of course, that's kind of what honestly prompted this whole idea anyway. So I was like, yeah, we're definitely going to start with this one. We went ahead and started that one. Also, there's going to be The Call of the Wild because Harrison Ford was in the new movie. I've actually already seen the movie, but I wanted the kids to read the book first. So we're going to be reading that one and then watching that movie. And who does not love Jim Carrey? I actually have never read the book before. So I'm super excited to actually read the book and then watch the movie again. I know I've seen the movie first, but the kids have not. So I look forward to actually reading this book myself. Artemis Fowl, I heard, is a Disney movie now, and I have never heard of this book ever. So I'm super excited to be reading this one as well as a new one that I have not ever read before. Also, a book I have never read is Escape from Mr. Limoncello's Library. And I am excited to be reading this one because I know for a fact there is a movie on Netflix about it that came out on Nickelodeon a couple years ago, and it sounded just so cool. It's definitely a book that is right up my alley that I would read because it's kind of like a mystery and you're solving something. So I am excited to read that one. Also, the author of that book, Chris Grabelstein, actually I got to meet one time and I had a conversation with him. He's a super cool guy and he works a lot with James Patterson, which was really cool to hear about. And so he also wrote this, he co-authored this book, Max Einstein, with James Patterson, and then actually signed it for my son. So I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So one day we'll actually read this book. It's a good, intense book, probably next year. But I thought it was really cool that he signed a book and I actually got to meet him. So I definitely want to read that book as well. I have to go ahead and throw this one in here. My older son has read this probably 3 times already, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And we will not actually be reading this one aloud, but I want to go ahead and throw it in there as a possibility in case you want to. But we will be watching this movie. My son has not watched the movie yet. He's read it a couple times now, but I feel like he's ready to watch the movie. And so he will be watching that separate than my daughter and my son, just simply because I think it's fun to read the book first. And so since he's definitely going to watch the movie. We do the same thing for Harry Potter. He's read the first Harry Potter book and then he's watched the first Harry Potter movie. He's on the second Harry Potter book now, so I'm looking forward to watching the second one soon. I wait for him, seriously, to read these books because I'm like, let's watch the movie. I'm ready to watch the movie. I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so it's definitely like a rite of passage in this house to read Harry Potter. We also are definitely going to be doing a lot of doll books simply because he has written so many books that have been turned into movies. So, of course, we're going to be hitting up those. Our main one is the BFG. We're also going to be reading Matilda, of course, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and the James and the Giant Peach. So we've got to hit up all those 4 because those are the top ones in my opinion. The last book I have scheduled to do this year, we may or may not get to, I'm not sure, and we also might not be ready for. Kind of depends on how the kids are and their ages and sort of their maturities. But Black Beauty is a really great book, but it's also very long and really thin writing in here. So it is one of the longer books. So I feel like we're going to leave it towards the end of the year when the kids are, of course, another almost year older. I feel that that would be better timing in my personal opinion. We hope we have given you a lot of great ideas this year for some read aloud books. Thank you so much for watching.
Please subscribe.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for watching.